In Panic in Detroit, Bowie goes back to take another look at the leftist revolutionaries of his time, which he already blasted back in 1969 in Signet Committee. Since then, however, the left has taken a turn for the worse, and an update was in order. To understand the ideology of the revolutionary left, we must go back to the 18th century, to the philosophy of Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Rousseau claimed that the nature of man is good, but the systems he formed were structured wrong, and created an unnatural state of things in which humans exploit and hurt one another. If the system is fixed, he implied, a happy existence for all humanity will naturally follow. This type of thinking led to the French Revolution, and to a general upheaval in the decades that followed. And yet, although the systems in many countries have become more egalitarian, people kept on doing bad things to one another. Some concluded that Rousseau was wrong, and humans aren't naturally good. But others refused to accept it, and looked for other explanations. In the middle of the 19th century, Karl Marx claimed that he found the root of the problem. The economic system was wrong. The capitalist system, he said, has created two classes, the employers, who hold all the power, and the working class, who are not getting paid nearly as much as their work is worth, and therefore cannot live a natural and happy life. Marx saw economy as an evolutionary process, in which one system is replaced by a better one, until we will reach the ideal system. This process is also changing the minds of the people, making them more enlightened and preparing them for the next step, and eventually will lead to a fully enlightened humanity that will be able to create the ideal society. Capitalism replaced the feudal system and brought more freedom and enlightenment to more people, but kept many others in an exploited and ignorant position. Then again, capitalism is also increasing humanity's wealth and creating enough means to satisfy everyone, while destroying the old tribal thinking to create a global consciousness that will unite all humans, thus setting the stage for the next and final step. At some point in the future, the working class will rise in revolt, overthrow the capitalist system, and create a global system that is not based on profit, but on sharing the wealth. When this will happen, the benevolent nature of man will finally have a chance to manifest itself, and eternal utopia will prevail. Marx believed that history is deterministic, that its processes can be scientifically predicted, and that this final revolution is therefore destined to happen, no matter what. But when capitalism reached the point where it already created enough wealth for everyone, the point where, according to Marx, the revolution should have happened, it failed to materialize. Some concluded that Marx was simply wrong, but others refused to accept it and looked for other explanations. The so-called NeoMarxists explained that capitalism had deviously created a culture that takes hold of the minds of the people and ensures that they would not revolt. In particular, American pop culture was regarded as the thing that makes people compliant and unaware that they are actually slaves. And it is so pervasive that there is nothing one can do to wake the masses up. The only possibility is to go into the academies and try to free the minds of students, hoping they will one day bring the change. And this is what the leftists try to do. Then came the 60s. Suddenly, pop culture itself was full of rebellious sounds, including Marxist ideas, first brought to the airwaves by Bob Dylan and other folk singers, and then affecting rock and roll. Revolutionaries like Che Guevara were toppling governments around the Third World, and gaining popularity in the West as well. The students in the academies, and their Marxist professors, believe that this shows that the masses are finally waking up, and even using the means of the ruling class, such as pop records, to fight back. All they needed was someone to harness that energy, and offer a revolutionary solution. From the mid-60s onwards, the left tried to capitalize on the youth rebellion, and steer it in the desired direction. So, While Marx believed that the revolution will happen sometime in the future, and humankind still had some maturing to do before it would be ready for it, the radical left of the 1960s believed that humanity was already ripe for the next step. If the capitalist system was somehow brought down, utopia will immediately ensue. The outcome of this belief was a change in tactics. In the beginning of the decade, up to 1967, leftists believed in peaceful protest. From 1968 onward, they opted for violent action, aimed at creating chaos and anarchy that would bring down the system. And by the early 70s, this violent action has devolved into a full-blown terrorist campaign, as young people across the world formed terrorist groups and murdered many innocent civilians while claiming that they are bringing a better world. Marxist thinking usually focuses on industrial cities, which it regards as the place where the exploitative nature of capitalism manifests itself most bluntly. In America, no city comes as more industrial than Detroit, the Motor City. In the 60s, Detroit also became famous for Motown, the music company that worked like a well-oiled factory, churning out perfect pop-soul records. It was a tribute to the power of America, where even poor black people can find fame and success through initiative and hard work. But if you listened more carefully to the sounds of Detroit, you could hear other voices. One of these voices was John Sinclair, a left-wing activist who formed the White Panther Party, a white group mirroring the revolutionary activism of the Black Panthers. Recognizing the power of rock and roll, Sinclair also became the manager of a local rock band named MC5, who became a vehicle for his views. Fusing the explosive attack of rock and roll with the unbound spirit of free jazz, MC5's music was chaos incarnate, a thrilling form of rebellious power. Their anthem Kick Out the Jams remains one of the most exciting and anarchic rock records ever made, and Bowie references it in Signet Committee. But it was the bluesy Motor City is Burning, describing the notorious Detroit riots of 1967, that manifested the revolutionary dream at the heart of their music. Well, there were firebombs bursting all around, people. You know, there were soldiers standing everywhere. I said there was firebombs bursting all around me, baby. You know, there was National Guard everywhere. I can hear my people screaming. Sirens fill the air. It may sound like the blues, but the yearning and excitement in the singer's voice as he portrays this dream is unmistakable. Working alongside MC5 was another local band, considered the Little Brother Band, named the Stooges. Musically they sounded very similar, but their lyrics showed an essential ideological difference. Like MC5, the Stooges celebrated chaos and anarchy, but while the former regarded it as the first stage in a revolution, for the Stooges it was the goal itself. The Stooges had no ideals, no beliefs, no dreams of a better future. All they had to offer was the exhilaration and joy of wild and fierce rock music, brought to unprecedented heights on stage through the fanatically extreme performing antics of their front man, Iggy Pop. While MC5 was busy turning pop music into a tool for promoting anarchy and revolution, Iggy, as his name suggests, was taking the anarchic and revolutionary tendencies of the time and channeling them into making ecstatic and powerful pop music. For Bowie, Iggy was what it was all about, and when he got to America, he sought him out. Learning that Iggy had trouble getting the next Stooges album out, as his record label considered it too wild, Bowie took him into his own record company, remixed the album himself, and released it. The result is raw power, one of the definitive manifestos of the time, and the main archetype for the nihilistic spirit of punk. While MC5's Motor City is Burning shows the hero taking to the streets to throw bombs and bring down the system, Iggy takes to the streets to absorb the bombs and make their explosiveness part of his being. I'm a street-walking cheater with a heart full of napalm. I'm a runaway son of the nuclear A-bomb. I am the world's forgotten boy, the one who searches and destroys. Honey gotta help me please, somebody gotta save my soul. Baby Detonate for Me. It was a look into the darker regions of the American psyche, and Bowie was right there for it. Around that time, he also wrote Panic in Detroit. And the influence of Detroit's wild music is definitely felt in this record, although at first it sounds more like Bo Diddley than MC5 or the Stooges. Instead of unrestrained guitars, the wildness here is initially contained, but always keeps fermenting in what sounds like a jungle beat pounding under the surface of industrial modern life. The music is well structured, and it gives the impression that the human race managed to sublimate its primitive jungle instincts and form a civilized world where everything is in order. But then, the person who arrives at the protagonist's door is a fugitive, who belonged to a leftist terrorist group. The protagonist notes his resemblance to Che Guevara, the hero of the radical left in the 60s. He is the only survivor from the group, which suggests that they already carried out their terrorist attack, and paid with their lives for it. But they also managed to break the order of things, cause panic in Detroit, and now, according to the Marxist plan, this panic state is supposed to make the people take a look at their life, realize that they are living a false existence, and take to the streets to overthrow the system and form a better one. This is the theory. What will actually happen, according to Bowie? Well, it seems that our protagonist is not exactly driven to take a look at his existence. He rather wishes someone would phone so he can wallow in prattle and forget about the situation. Instead of asking the revolutionary about his ideals, he asks for his autograph, as if he was a pop star. So, while the Marxists believe that the rebellious tendencies in the pop culture of the day show that the people are finally waking up, and once they were shown the way to a real revolution they would leave pop behind and embrace Marxism, Bowie shows that Marxism merely became grist for pop culture's mill. Just like Che Guevara became more famous for his iconic portrait than for his ideals, so does this revolutionary get treated like a star, not like someone who acts for the people.
He laughed at accidental sirens that broke the evening gloom. The police had warned of repercussions, they followed none too soon. A trickle of strangers were all that were left alive. Panic in Detroit, I asked for an autograph. He wanted to stay home, I wish someone would phone. Panic in Detroit.
The terrorists' reaction reminds us of MC5's Motor City is Burning, the mirth that fills the revolutionary's heart when he sees the police running about to try and quell the chaos caused by his actions. He laughs because he believes that the people will prevail, and the police will be blown away. What actually happens, it seems, is that the police and authorities are using the threat of terrorism as an excuse to enforce harsher measures, and shoot down the people who take to the streets. Instead of giving more power to the people, this incident only takes more of it away.
Putting on some clothes, I made my way to school. I found my teacher crouching in his overall. I screamed and ran to smash my favorite slot machine, and jumped the silent cars that slept in traffic lights.
Finally, our protagonist springs into action and takes to the streets. It is time, indeed, to take advantage of the chaos and display his real human nature. And what is his nature, as it is revealed to us? Selfish, violent and greedy. Not exactly what Rousseau envisioned, not exactly the basis to form a Marxist utopia. The image of the teacher, a symbol of enlightenment, in his overalls, a a symbol of working class, is what the Marxists have in mind when they envisioned the ideal man, but the result of their actions did not make him prevail, but rather hide in the corner.
Having scored $1 trillion, made a run back home, found him slumped across the table, economy alone. I ran to the window, looked for a plane or two. Panic in Detroit, it left me an autograph, let me collect us, with someone would phone. Panic in Detroit.
The revolutionary realizes that he has failed. The world did not react like he believed it would, and all the death and destruction he and his friends have wrought only succeeded in making things worse. When the protagonist returns home, he finds that a terrorist had committed suicide, but not before he left him an autograph, as though acknowledging that he was nothing but a pop figure. And with his death, the last traces of humanity die as well. The music breaks up, the beat spills over, the guitar yells like police sirens, and the backing vocals turn into horrified screams as the veneer of modern order collapses and the jungle that is at the heart of man celebrates its victory. The final verdict on the 60s left, then, is that it got it all wrong. The modern system does not subvert the good nature of man, but rather organizes things so that his wild and violent nature is kept in check. Using terrorism to cause chaos and anarchy will therefore not lead to the rise of a better order, but rather to an outbreak of brutal mayhem, which will most probably be followed by the constitution of a police state. The leftist revolutionary tendencies of the 60s and 70s have led nowhere, and the only good thing that came out of them was that they inspired some great pop records, like Panic in Detroit.